Hi, you are with the second episode of Volleyball Explained Podcast, and this time we are going to talk about the Italian League. I am Bogdan, author and creator of Volleyball Explained, and with me this time is Nicola, who is our specialist in Italian volleyball.
Hi, everyone.
In our first episode, and altogether second of the Volleyball Explained podcast, we are going to talk about the upcoming season in the Italian League. We are going to have a look in the teams, the starting lineups, possible starting lineups, of course, in what we can expect from the league this season, from the Supercup, and which is very soon this weekend. Sunday and the next Sunday, and after that will be the final in Arena di Verona, and we're going to have also some words about the very early stages of the Cup of Italy. Without further ado, I would like to start with the top four, the traditional top four in the Italian League in the last maybe 4 or 5 seasons. Which is consisted of Lube Volley, Trentino, Perugia, and the team of Modena. Maybe we can start with the team of Lube, which didn't succeed to win the title the last season because of the fact that the season was cancelled due to the coronavirus crisis. And just a small summary of what their squad will be during the upcoming season. Actually, they have only one change in comparison to last season, and this is the setter's position, where Bruno left to Brazil, and his substitution will be the great Luciano De Cecco, who is coming from the team of Perugia. Nicola?
Yeah, but as we pointed out, Lube is basically the same team as last year. They just subbed in a world-class setter to replace another world-class setter. And I don't think that De Cecco would have any problem trying to handle the superstars that are around him. And in Italy, we're pretty thrilled because when Simone and De Cecco played together in Piacenza some years ago, they show a very deadly connection, and they were very, very spectacular and to watch. I still think that Lube is the clear favorite to win the title because they're balanced in any of the roles, and the weakest position may be the opposite with Riklički, but he's already had 1 year playing with Lube, so he's not a rookie for a big team anymore, and I think they will perform pretty well. Actually, that's what the Georgie is hoping for when asked who will be the surprise for the upcoming season. He answered the journalist, "I hope it will be Kamil Riklički."
Like our friend from the Bulgarian Facebook group, fans of the Italian Volleyball League, Atanas, says Lube this season will be Lube Cubana with Simon, Leao, Juan Turena, and the new star Marlon Yant. But yeah, I would say also that they'll be Lube Española because all Cubans are Spanish speaking, plus De Cecco. We are going to have a almost full starting lineup except for Balazzo and Riklički, plus Simone Anzani probably, who are not going to be speaking Spanish, at least as their mother tongue. So Lube is one of the favorites. Let's go to the next team. This is the team of Trentino, who is very familiar for you, I believe.
Yeah.
And here, in comparison to the team of Lube, there are a lot of changes. Actually, all the outside hitters, or at least regular outside hitters, are changed, plus the opposite, plus one of the middle blockers, plus the libero. So the head coach is not changed. It's Angelo Lorenzetti. So they're going to have Simone Gianelli, Dick Coy, Marko Podraščanin, Srećko Lisinac, Nimir Abdelaziz, who was absolutely amazing during the last season before it was cancelled, and Riccardo Lucarelli, who is going to play in outside of Brazil for the very first time. I have a specific question for you, and do you think that taking into account these changes, the reception of Trento will be much weaker than the last season? And secondly, if it is weaker, are they going to be able to compensate it with attack?
Well, on paper, yeah, the reception is definitely weaker than the last season. Not that Russell and Kovacic were some specialists in reception, but we don't know how Lucarelli will perform in such a demanding league. And when it comes down to reception, of course, attacking skill are well known. And Koi proved to be pretty consistent in reception last year, but I think they might suffer it. They could overcome it with a pretty strong attack. And if the reception could provide Gianelli with all the possibilities to play the game they want to, they could be pretty dangerous. Every other player you mentioned has a great attacking skill. Both the middle blockers, Abdelaziz has been the best scorer 2 years ago, and probably would have been last season if the season would have ended. And both their set speaker are pretty, I couldn't say deadly if they could mix it in all those attacking chances. On the other side, I think that if Trentino could use their serve at high level, they had very good chance to beat almost everyone. But the reception will be their great deal during the season.
We should remind also that the team has been left by Jenia Grebennikov, who is not arguably, but surely the best libero in the world right now, and he was changed by Salvatore Rossini, who is also a great libero, but I believe not that great as Jenia. So this is going to be an additional problem. So let's go to the next team, maybe. This is the team of Perugia, who will be again one of the favorites. And here it's interesting one story which is connected with Filippo Lanza, who had some problems with the president of the team, very for one president Perugia has. But it was almost sure that he's going to leave, but he's not going to leave actually, at least for now. And this is one of the stories linked to Perugia. De Cecco is in Lube, so they took the very experienced Dragan Travica, plus the middle blocker Sebastian Solé. The other players are more or less the same. Wilfredo Leon. It's enough, Wilfredo Leon just. So Oleg Plotnitsky, who is very probably to be a regular this season. Plus they transferred two backups, Thijs ter Horst and Sharon Vernon Evans as a backup opposite. Is very interesting, and this is my question: how would they fit four pretty, not great all of them, but very good outside hitters like Leon, like Plotnitsky, Lanza, and ter Horst?
As you pointed out before, Lanza will probably not be part of that roster, and the situation is a mess, and they don't know how to work it out. So I don't think that will be involved in the rotation of the team. Einen proved last year that he tried to use every player he's got, and it mixed the team a lot during the regular season and the Champions League, and it proved to still be able to get the best out of them. So I think that, Leon will undoubtedly be the starter, and maybe Plotnitsky and ter Horst will play for the role of the second outside hitter. And so, Perugia as well, people are a little bit concerned about Travica because they say like a downgrade from the Checo. It's not as good as the Czech, of course, but Travica is, as you pointed out, a very experienced setter. He won the Italian championship with Lube. He won the Russian championship with Belgrade, the championship with Belgrade, the Club World Cup with Belgrade. So he's someone who's used to have some talented player around him. And in the past 2 years, he led Padova to some surprising victories. For example, the Padova beat Trento, thanks to Travica and his game on Trento home soil. They beat Modena. They beat Perugia as well. So I think that they're still one of the top team, and they will fight for every trophy to the end.
The last of the teams from the traditional top four is Modena. I believe that their squad is the most interesting one. Trento's squad was also changed, but here I believe that there is a chance of a negative surprise, let's say. They were left by Matt Anderson, but Ivan Zaitsev and Bartosz Bednosh. So all the outside hitters plus the opposite starting ones left. Luca Vettori is in the team this season. Plus, as a backup opposite maybe or outside hitter is Estrada, very, very talented Cuban player. In position 4, they have Nemanja Petric and Daniele Lavia, who is another talented but Italian guy. And of course, the biggest transfer hit of this summer is Jenia Grebennikov playing at the libero position for Modena, and in the middle blockers position are Dragan Stankovic, who has already an Italian passport, and Daniele Mazzone. So my question is, with this squad, with Luca Vettori, who is not that confident, I believe, especially on high ball, do you think that is it possible for Modena to be out of the top 4 this season?
I think that people are kind of like underestimating Modena because they're coached by a great coach like Andrea Gianni, who proved to be someone who could make the team play pretty well. And yeah, they lost the entire attacking trio from last season, but they brought in an experienced outside hitter such as Petric, Lavia, which is one of the rising stars of Italian volleyball, and everyone expected a lot from him this season. And they still have one of the top 5 setters in the world, Micah Christensen, as we pointed out before, the best libero in the world. And also their middle blocker duo is pretty balanced between Mazzone and Stankovic. The big deal will be Vettori. Which version of Vettori we will see? The one that underperformed in Trento in the past 3 seasons, or the one that helped Modena winning the treble just 4 years ago? So most of the chances of Modena for having a shot at big trophies will be based on how good will Vettori perform, I think. But I don't see them out of the top 4. I still think that the 4th team we presented will be the one ranking from 1st to 4th. In which order, it's difficult to predict, but I still see them as one of the top 4.
And we shouldn't forget that with Jenia Grebennikov, he will be able to cover 2/3 of the court against the float serve. So most of the time they won't need very good reception by the other two. Okay, that's exaggerated, but anyway, you understood what I mean.
And if I can say one last thing, I think that Modena brought in a pretty interesting player that last season played for Latina, Moritz Karliczek, which is an outside hitter from Germany, and Johnny knows very well from his coaching seasons with the national team of Germany. And it could really be a kind of surprise because I think that if he fit in the game, in attacking game of Modena as well as he was doing last year with Latina, it could really be an asset for Modena if between Petric and Lavia will not be at their best. So I think it's a very good backup, and I think it will surprise us during the season.
She's not that popular as a player, but actually I succeeded in finding out that he's very good because of the fact that I took him in my fantasy volleyball Italian team last year, and it worked out pretty well. So, by the way, this is another idea we should do in the podcast. When the season starts, we're going to have a fantasy rubric in the podcast. I believe in this fantavolley.net website. So that was about the top four. So maybe we can go then to the pretenders. So will there be any team who can compete against the top four? My personal opinion is that that's possible, not too much likely, but possible. And maybe the biggest competitor, at least in terms of squad, is the newly formed team of Piacenza. They transferred into their team Georgi Grozer, experienced and very tough, hard, strong, whatever word you can use opposite, with Aaron Russell, great signing, Trevor Clevenot, Oleg Antonov. They have Davide Candelaro, Alberto Polo, and two setters in the names of Raido Jerezuelo, the Cuban player, and James Shaw coming from Poland, Polish league. And Andrea Gardini as a coach. At least in terms of names, it seems like a very good squad.
Yeah, on paper, that's the team who could maybe get some trouble from the top four. And it changed almost everything but the libero, Scanferla, which is another one to watch in Italian volleyball. But I think the show will play most likely as a backup for Grozer, as a opposite backup. And Marco Izzo will be the second setter. Anyway, they could be the possibility to play show as a setter. He's played all his career, more or less. I mean, the only thing that we have to really watch out about Piacenza is how good will be Irazuelo connecting with Grozer, of course, because for Grozer, maybe this is the first time that he getting in such a strong league, and then don't mean for the overall level, but where every game day you have to face some pretty well-coached defense and well-coached blocking. So I think that if he could be as good as he's shown to be for his career, Piacenza could fight maybe for the fourth place. And with the two outside hitter, Russell and Clevenot, we are veteran of the Italian league. They know exactly how to play. Candelaro, another veteran. Polo is one of the youngest in the middle block, and it's also has been some calls from the national team. So he's a very good player. And I really like a lot Oleg Antonov as a backup outside hitter. He did pretty well with the national team. He did pretty well in Trento. So if there's one team, as you pointed out, Piacenza could be the one getting trouble of the first four.
Two things about Oleg Antonov. First, from his Kunel period, we know that he can play almost everywhere. We remember then that he played as outside hitter, as an opposite, when Tsvetan Sokolov played as a middle blocker. And the second thing, I like to say that his biomechanics when serving is like coming from the textbooks. It's almost perfect. Yes, even if I'm not the biggest specialist in that matter. Next one, I put maybe not in order as favorites for the sixth place, let's say in this way, but the Bulgarian team in the Italian league, the team of Verona, coached by Radostin Stoichev, plus the Emperor Matej Kazinski, as it is known, and he's known in Trento. Another great Bulgarian talent like Asparuchos Paruchov, he played in Modena also the last season. Plus one of the physio specialists, Tsvetelin Ivanov. They will be pretty and very much helped by the regular in the French national team opposite Stéphane Bouillet, and the US national much time. Then he had an injury, Thomas Jeschke. So I like to say for this team that they're going to put an emphasis on outside players, better outside players than middle blockers, plus the setter, the Italian Luca Spirito.
Yeah, Spirit and Boyer already have 1 year of connection, so I think they will improve pretty well. Kaczynski could adapt to any setter he will play with, and last year I think he played just one game with Verona, and he also was named the MVP of that game. So it doesn't need to be introduced. But yes, I expect a lot from Jeschke, who's basically skipped last season due to an injury, and if not, I'm pretty sure that Sparwop will do pretty well. In the 2 occasions that I saw him playing live in Trento, he gave me a very good impression. And as middle blocker, it's very tough to replace Solé, which has been one of the best middle blocker of the league for the past years. And Agunier is a rookie in our league, so we'll see how he'll perform. Kaneski actually was one of the few sweet notes from Sora of the past 2 years. So I think that he had the chance to prove himself on a bigger stage, and I think he could succeed. We all know that Rado Stoichev is able to build tough team to play against, but last year he had some major setbacks, such as I remember the loss of Verona in Vibo Valencia. They lost 3-0 on the left. Everybody shocked for how they went, but he knew the ambient, he knew the team, and he has 1 more year of experience in Verona. So they probably will be battling with Milano for the position right after the top 4 and Piacenza.
You mentioned Milano, and during the last season, maybe half of their points were scored by Nimir Abdelaziz, who is now in Trento. So they're going to have at least small problem with that. And he was replaced by Patry, who is a very talented and backup opposite in the French national team. So I believe this is not even substitution between the seasons, but very good one. They will have also Yuki Ishikawa, who is a very good Japanese player in position 4, plus Steven Marr, Ricardo Sbertoli, the setter, will be again there. Matteo Piano and Janko Zamernik will remain as middle blockers for the team, and the libero will be again the same, Nicolo Pesaresi. I believe that if things are normal, Milano should fight at least for top 6, for the 6th place maybe.
Yeah, definitely. If all the players could stay healthy until the end of the season, which is one of the bigger concerns with Matteo Piano, unfortunately. He had some injuries in the past seasons that limited his time of playing on the court. You said it right. It's difficult to replace Abdelaziz, but if there's an available player for the market of Milano who had the chance to do that, it probably is Patry, who played pretty well last year in Cisterna. And you say it's a backup for Boyer, yeah, but he played as a starter in the pre-Olympic tournament they held in Germany, I think.
Yes,
because Boyer had some problem with the national team, and it showed that
he had problem with Ngapet, I believe, that he was expelled from the team due to his fight in a bar with Ngapet or something like that.
Yeah,
and
something like that, yeah.
Ngapet didn't want him in the team, so he was out. So Patry played. Yes, you are absolutely right. Yeah.
So Patry showed he could bear the pressure to be one of the biggest weapon of the team. Mar, he played in Padova, he played in Verona, he already played in Milan, so he's one of the. Last year he wasn't in Italy, but he's used to play the Italian volleyball. And actually, I like him a lot. He's an incredibly physical player. He's explosive, and he's getting better year after year in Italy. When he came here, I think 5 years ago, it was a kind of all jump and spike without thinking what to do. And then they trained and it worked out very well. And I think that it could be one of the better outsider of the entire league if he keep playing at the level he surely could play last year in Padova. Bertoli, we have a lot of expectation about him in Italy, and I think the last year he didn't do so well, but this year he could prove me wrong at least. We're expecting something more from him, and with that team, and maybe with not the pressure to pass every ball to Abdelaziz, it could show up how to develop a more collective game.
Yeah, at least they could be a little more diverse, because last season the distribution of the Bertoli was something like from 100 attacks, 45 at least were to Nimir, and the other, because let's maybe we can say that here there are coaches which like that there are three positions on the court, so opposite, outside hitters, both outside hitters plus the middle blockers and pipe should have approximately the same number of attacks. So 1/3 for anybody, 1/3 from the outside hitters, 1/3 from the opposite, and 1/3 for the middle pipe attack. Whatever it is, middle or pipe, it doesn't matter. Of course, you can't do it 100% for middle attacks to be pipe. This is impossible. The last team in our top 8 prediction, let's say it in this way, is the top volley Cisterna, which very probably is going to be led by another Bulgarian as a setter, Georgi Seganov, who played the last season in Turkey. His backup, I believe, maybe I would be proven wrong, will be the 41 years of age Daniele Sotile, plus the opposite Giulio Sabi, coming back to the Italian league, Kevin Tillich, who is a great signing, I believe, plus Luigi Randazzo is an outside hitter. They will have as a backup Oreste Cavuto, another very talented player from Italy. Middle blocker, the 210 and I don't know how many centimeters Tobias Krieg from Germany, and Schwarz and Cavaccini as a libero, who I believe was doing pretty well in the fantasy. We mentioned the fantasy again last season. So I believe this is again a very, very nice quote. And if Piacenza, with all its names, underperform, I believe that any of the teams we mentioned after that, Verona, Milano, and Top Volley, will be able to fight for 5th place. I don't believe that any of the three will be. It's going to be possible to be in the top 4 for these three teams, at least now. But for 5th place, I'm not sure that Piacenza is sure for this place.
Well, no, I agree with you. Latina has had a pretty surprising off-season. They basically changed their role from fighting for the relegation last year to having a clear shot to the playoff this year. I don't know actually whether it will be Seganov or Sotile starting, but in both cases they pretty well cover the setter position. I mean, Sotile started playing in Italy before the rally point system was born, actually, because he played in season 97 with Cuneo, so it's a veteran, very experienced. It's also was the backup setter of Giannelli when Italy get the silver on the last Olympic Games in Rio. Sabi is something that you can count on, especially for that kind of team. He scored ton of points with Castellanagrotte, Molfetta, and a team that based a lot on the opposite, because Tilly Randazzo is more reliable as defensive specialist than an attacking specialist, I think, and on the balance of the team. And Randazzo also needs to stay healthy until the end of the season to prove that he's actually a good player. Crick is a rookie in the Italian League. We'll see how he'll perform. I think that he spent the entire career in Frankfurt, if I'm not wrong. So we will see. Svart did pretty well last year in Latina Cisterna, the same team as well. And Cavaccini has been a consistent libero. It was also in Castellanagrotte 2 seasons ago. So this is a pretty balanced team. If they gain some momentum during the season, they could really look for the 6th, 7th, or 8th place. So for one of the spot in the playoff, I don't think they will be higher than the 6th position. At their best, they could be end as a 6th position. They could also end out the playoff if Vibo Valencia, of the 3 teams left, with 3-4 teams left, or Monza could sneak in, but it's more likely that they will get a spot in the playoff.
The other 4 teams left, I believe that it's very possible that they will be the teams covering spots from 9th to 12th, but of course before the season we can't say anything for sure, but at least my projections and predictions for the season are like this. So these are the teams of Monza, Vibo Valentia, Ravenna, and Padova. Padua.
Padova.
Yeah.
Padova.
Okay.
Padua is actually Latin.
Yeah.
It's the Latin version of the city. Is Padova would be.
So I have several questions. First, which is your favorite from these teams? Second question is yes, from this bottom 4. Second is who is your least favorite? So who is going to be favorite for relegation? And do you believe that some of these teams we can have also a look in the lineups could go to top 8 or maybe top 6?
Well, I think that the 2 teams that are most likely fighting for not to be relegated are Padova and Ravenna. Ravenna is a team of very young players. They brought in back Mengozzi, which has been their capital for 4 years, and they spent the last season in Verona and Vibo Valencia. But basically the rest of the team is very, very young. They got Alex Grozdanov, which is the Bulgarian middle blocker, and is probably one of the best players they got on the roster. Their opposite is Pinali, who's pretty young, but still, even if with Bonita as a head coach, who is someone who could play very well with the youngster, I still think that the weakest side in the Italian Superlega. Padova as well has to overcome a lot of, how can I say, weak points, because it's one of the 2 teams of the entire league that changed their coach, and Baldovin, who moved from Padova to Vibo Valencia. And they've lost Travica, they lost Hernandez, they lost Ishikawa, they lost Polo. And they have a young team, but still will be difficult not to see them fighting for the relegation. On the other side, the 2 teams that probably have a chance to sneak in the playoff fight if some of the above teams will underperform are Vibo Valencia and Monza. Vibo Valencia is a pretty good team when it comes down to outside hitter, especially because Abubakar, the opposite, played last season pretty well. They brought in Rosard from Fenerbahce, I think last year played in Turkey. So they're pretty good.
Oh,
and
in Poland, I'm not sure. In Resovia? Resovia. I believe that he played in Resovia last season. Okay.
Check. You're right. 2 years ago he played maybe with Fenerbahce and the Trento.
Okay, I will check where he played. No, you're right. He played in Fenerbahce and before that with Resovia. Yes.
Okay. So, but it's a pretty good player. And I'm pretty thrilled about Monza opposite, Lagumija. I don't know how to pronounce it well. The last year,
maybe Lagumgia, but I'm not
claiming.
I'm not claiming that I'm totally right. So my Turkish is not that good, even if they are our neighbors.
I've heard a lot of good thing about him, and I don't want to see how we'll perform in such as demanding league as the Italian one. So answer your
And
question at the
Maxwell
end.
Holt, which is
Of course,
a very big surprise for me that he chose Monza to play in this season, because they are anything but favorites compared to Modena.
Well, you have to consider that if we decided to stay in Italy, there were very few spots available for a foreign player. So probably move from Modena and Monza are not so far, and you will play with Orduna. When it's not a bad choice as a setter if you want to play it.
Yeah, and they're.
Sorry.
No problem. They won't have Bartosz Kurek this season, which is a great loss for them. But they will have this Donovan Zavornok guy from the Czech Republic, who is a big surprise in terms of scoring points, at least for me, during the last season. So my predictions when I was preparing for this podcast were pretty much the same. Ravenna and Padova fighting for who will be not relegated. I believe with that one we pretty much covered all the teams, and we have our predictions. Maybe just last prediction for now, at least, taking into account what we have as information now. Who is your favorite for the title?
I still think Lube is my favorite. As a Trentino Volley fan, obviously I hope that Trento will claim the title at the end of the season, but I still think that Lube has the major shot to win the title.
Yeah, my thoughts are exactly the same. Just because the fact they kept their squad completely intact, except for changing Bruno with De Cecco. But changing Bruno with De Cecco, maybe they will need a little bit of time to just to adjust. But anything from that, they will be again the great squad they were the last seasons. So next topic, the Supercup. Semifinals in 2 matches, Trento Lube and Perugia Modena. First match is on the 13th, Sunday.
Yep.
And 20th are the second legs, and then after that the final will be played at Arena di Verona, which will be a great venue to host the final. I believe that there were ideas that there will be a top 4 or even a top 8 played all the matches at Arena di Verona, but of course this was abandoned due to the COVID-19 crisis situation. Awful, yeah. I believe that we covered the 4 teams, but any predictions for those matches? Do you believe that Trento can stop Lube in 2 matches, or Perugia Modena something? I believe that Lube and Perugia are the favorites here.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially on a 2-legged round, because it was just 1 game. Maybe you could have a surprise, such as 2 years ago. Everyone expected the final to be Perugia against Lube, and the final actually was Trento against Modena. So, but on the 2-leg round, I think that Lube and Perugia will prevail, even if at such an early stage of the season, the level of the game won't be so high as we could expect from this team. And it will be more, I think, an individual effort to win the game than a team effort. So as you say, the play from the champions will make the difference in this two-leg round.
And who will win the Super Cup?
If there will be a Lube against Perugia, it's like, tossing a coin.
Yeah.
everything could happen. We've seen in the past 2 years. And we also have to count that playing outdoor is very different for setter compared with playing indoor. They don't have the spot they usually use to orientate themselves. Still a little bit, if I have to talk about percentage, I would say 51 Lube and 49 Perugia, but it all comes down how they will get to the final match on the 25th.
And how all Cubans will play.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're going to have a Cuban show in such a final. By the way, do you know how many people will be allowed in Verona, or it is not sure for now, because there will be 10 days, not 10 days from now, but
2 weeks,
a little bit more when the final will be played.
I've heard about 3,500 people that could be, which is basically, I think, a third or a fourth of the entire capacity of the arena of Verona. But the situation is so fluid that everything could change even in a matter of days, not weeks. So I hope there will be as much people as possible to watch the game, of course, because it's important also for the players to have a big crowd cheering for them and for the atmosphere in general.
And our last topic on the merit, for now at least, the preliminary round in the Cup of Italy. So we are talking until now for the Supercups, so we're going to have a few words about the Cup. The 8 teams which are not in the top 4, so they are divided into 2 groups of 4 teams. Milano, Vibo Valentia, Monza and Verona in the first group, and Ravenna, Padova, Piacenza and Top Volley Cisterna in the second group. So they will play against each between 13th of September and 23rd, and the 2 teams of each group are going to qualify for the quarterfinals in the cup, which will be played in November. Of course, these 4 teams plus the top 4 teams of Lube, Perugia, Trento, and Modena. Which are your favorites from these 2 groups?
First of all, I want to. How can I say? I want to credit the league, because with that formula, every team is starting the season basically on the same day, on the same period, so they get a chance to try the things and to play real games instead of this kind of strange friendly they had for the past 2 years. So I think that the 2 groups are pretty unbalanced, because Group A with Milano, Verona, Monza and Vibo Valencia is pretty strong, and each game will be pretty fun to watch. But at the end, I think that Milano and Verona will prevail. And on the other side, definitely Cisterna and Piacenza. If something is not happening, I don't know, injuries or bad days, I think that 2 teams will go through the next round.
My predictions are totally the same, I believe. Milano plus Verona and Piacenza plus Top Volley, and especially the second group. Even if we don't know almost everything, not everything, I believe that Piacenza and Top Volley will play in the quarterfinals. We forgot to say that the first round in the league is on the 27th of September, and the first TV match in Rai will be Bulgaria against Cuba, Lube against Verona. And now the time has come for our rubric, which will be played, let's say in this way, for the very first time in the Italian podcast, but we did it also in the Polish podcast. So this is the time for volleyball lessons in Italian. And yes, now you're going to present us and teach us in 3 words in Italian, which are totally connected to volleyball.
Yeah, as has happened for the Polish podcast you mentioned, we choose the same three words to introduce people to Italian volleyball, which are the Italian words for volleyball, ball, and net. Volleyball in Italy is pallavolo, while ball is palla, and net is rete. As you probably find out, the word palla, which is the item we play for, is both in the name, and basically the name of the sport is a peer-to-peer translation from English. Doesn't
Yes, it's
have
the
any
same.
other.
It's flying plus even if in Italian flying uh, it's let's say in this way identical to not identical to the name of volleyball, because we have volley flying and Italian is the same, volare and volo. It's almost the same. So we have pallavolo, we have palla, and we have rete.
Right,
And
exactly.
in the future, after we had enough words, we can start with doing sentences. So like in real class. So we're going to have this later. Maybe after I don't know how many episodes, but we will start doing this also. And I like to mention again that our idea about the fantasy league, our predictions, ideas, and proposals for you having fantasy league Italian team will be done at least when the season starts, because from now I don't think that it's very there is a lot of sense in doing that, and maybe we can say that we would be able to do our first, not first, but second podcast about the Italian league, maybe after the first round. Then we're going to have who has won the Super Cup, all the results and everything from the preliminary round in the Cup of Italy, and we're going to discuss what happened in the first round. I believe that this is a very suitable schedule for us for the future. Very near future.
Definitely.
And with that, I believe that we can close and finish our first episode of Volleyball Explained podcast about the Italian League. I hope very much that you liked this episode and all the things we talked about in the last, I don't know how many, maybe 40 minutes or something like that. Maybe more, I don't know. Time is ticking very fast when we talk about Italian volleyball. I hope that you're going to watch us again the next time. You are going to like the video, share the clip, subscribe to not to the podcast, but to the channel itself if you haven't done it for now. And that's from my side. I hope that you're going to do it also the next time. Bye bye.